Hi everyone, this is RedHeart. In this video I will be showing you all a tutorial on how to do MMD tracing. Before we start, I want to say that this is not actually a tutorial. I'm really speaking based on my experience with MMD, just to show how I do the motion tracing. I hope it can be helpful in some way. Now before we jump in, this tutorial might be difficult to understand if you're a beginner, as in you're not familiar with the MMD software. So I do suggest that you familiarize with the software. Get to know the basic functions. Just play or mess around with it, do some random movements or poses, so that you have a better idea of how to use it. Of course, I will still cover some things which are kinda important to how you make a good motion trace. But the rest of the functions are actually pretty straightforward. MMD is actually a very easy animation program to use. So with that, I will jump right into how I trace my motions. Enjoy. So the very first step in tracing is of course to find something to trace. It can be a dance or a normal motion like waving hands. After you find something you like, you can load the video into the background. Now something important to note is that your video file should be in AVI format, since MMD only allows AVI video files. This means if you have an MP4 file, you will need to convert it to AVI file. Now there are different ways to convert to AVI file, but I personally like this one where you just download this converter from Bullroll. It's a free converter and a very small size package file, so don't worry about it eating up too much space. And then you extract the files and you will have this. Make sure to extract the files in Japanese, or else the Japanese names would become weird symbols and may cause it not to work. Now run this file and you will see the converter. It's in Japanese but very easy to use in case you don't understand the language. And what you do now is to state the dimensions you want the video in. I usually go for a 54 to 480 for normal video, or 270 to 480 for TikTok dimensions. In this case, my video is a YouTube short, so I go with 270 to 480. The reason why I use such low quality is because high quality dimensions would make the file size too large to run on MMD. Now I will run it. Look for the video I want to convert. Now it will ask me to save the AVI file and the video sound file separately. And there you go. Now you just load it in. Hold Shift and the magnifier to adjust video size. Hold Shift and the directional icon to move it. I switched the background to black because I'm a dark theme person. And I load the music in, as well as my model, so that's how the setting up is done. Now I start off by tracing the pose from the video. What I usually do is I directly copy the pose by putting the video directly behind the model. Forgive me, I'm feeling a bit rusty because I haven't traced motions for a long time. The arms are supposed to be down, so I put them down. Now I load the finger poses. These are finger poses that are already made by someone else, so you can just download them from the link I attached. There isn't much for this part, it's really all copying and preparing for the motion process. I will just speed up this part. Now let's talk about interpolation curve, since this is very important to making your motion smooth. So interpolation curve is basically a curve which determines the speed of how your character moves, and how you adjust the curve ultimately affects how fast or slow your model will move. So let's say the curve is just a straight line, then it would mean it's moving at a constant speed. But if I were to make it like this, it would be a curve upwards, where my motion starts off slow and gradually speeds up to the end. This is a math curve, but of course I'm not going to turn this into a math lesson, so instead I will just show it to you. Here you can see the difference. In general, you would want to use the S-curve for smooth motions. There are many ways to manipulate the curve to get the movement you want, so you can play around with it. Try out different curves. It takes a bit of trial and error to eventually get what you are looking for. That's pretty much it for how to use the interpolation curve. Now I will continue with the tracing. Back to this part, I believe this is where most beginners would be unsure of what to do next. Here I start to view where to put the subsequent frames. I put the video and model side by side to see the motion. Over here I'm hovering back and forth to catch the exact moment where the person starts moving downwards. Basically I look out for points where the person's movements start to change, and then fix them as the next frames. And then I just fix the same positions for the model. In general, my process for adjusting the model goes in this order. The center, the body, and then the arms and legs. This is so that I can have a smooth transition of the movements. For this part, I did it wrongly and adjusted the arms first, so you'll see why it's bad later on. You'll see that occasionally. I check the side and back profile to see whether the model is in good position. You do want to remember that the model is in 3D, so you don't want it to look nice on one side and then awful on another side. It might not look like much now, but this is the kind of thing where you need to trust the process. After all, tracing isn't something simple, so you have to give it time and patience. In case you think I'm doing this fast, I actually sped up parts of the video so that you can skip the repetitive parts. Throughout the process, I'm playing around with the interpolation curve, and you can see that in general I use S-curve a lot. You can see the movements are slowly connecting. Now I'm falling back on the workflow and restarting from center to body, and then arms and amp, legs again. So I just keep repeating the steps until I get the smooth motion that I want. Now I can put the video back behind the model and directly trace the movements, but it's not always a good thing, because people all come in different shapes and sizes. Sometimes direct tracing doesn't really work well. That's why I would just put it beside and trace by comparing body proportions. This is the part where I realized that I shouldn't have done the arms first. They look different now because I adjusted the upper body, so now I have to make changes to it. This process is now just me polishing up the frames that I already made. Now I fix the left arm to make sure the wrist stays in the same spot while the arm moves. And then I adjust the interpolation curve to make it smooth. Now it looks better. Of course, this is just the front part. There's still more work to do, but I'm not going to show the full trace because it's pretty much the same. Now I will skip a bit to the back. Here I made more progress and shifted the arms open to focus on the body motion. Here you can see how I added a bit of height between two frames to create a bounce motion. This is one of the tricks I use with the center to make a smooth bounce motion. I usually deal with dance motions for tracing, so I just do this when there's body bounce involved. Now fixing upper body and arms. Here I use the reverse function to copy reversed right arm for next left arm. This can save you lots of trouble, so do use it if the movements are similar or repetitive. Made a few adjustments to make sure the arm does not clash with the body. And then I end up with this smoother motion. Now I do the same for the other arm. And now I have enough frames to play the first part of the motion. Looks good enough. Of course I will still polish up further on my own to make it smoother, but this is the general idea. So to sum up what I did earlier, I talked about identifying frames where you look out for points of change. So look out for times where there's a drop in height, or maybe when any part of the body starts to slow down to a specific position. That's usually the part where you should put your frames to continue the next part of the motion. The next one is using the center to introduce bounce, if not maybe a bit of variation to height so that your model looks more natural. And then followed by the use of reverse function and pre-made finger poses to make your life easier. Do not hesitate to use it if it works, it's a lifesaver. The last part is really just to understand how the body moves. It's fundamental to making a smooth trace. Now this is not something that I can show, it's really just from your observation of how the human body moves. I would say spend a bit of time observing people, watching how they move, how movements connect. Or if you want to be extreme, do some movements in front of a mirror to visualize motions better. I have done that before. I'm not going to lie to you, it's cringe, but if it works, it works. At the end of the day, you want to learn to visualize how the body behaves. It takes time to visualize well, so if you're not there yet, don't feel discouraged. Just keep learning and practicing. You'll get there eventually. Even for me, I'm still observing and learning from other good MMD users out there, so just work slowly, one step at a time, go at your own pace. As long as you don't stop believing, you'll be fine. Now I will jump to the next part, which is expressions. Now tracing expressions is actually pretty simple, given that the functions are kinda straightforward. Every model has preset functions for eyes, brows, and mouth, so you just play around and pick what you want. Apply what kind of emotion you want the eyes to show. As for the mouth, there are presets, as well as the A to U manipulations, in case you want to do your own mouth expressions. If you don't know what the vowels mean, it's basically how the mouth looks like when it pronounces those vowels. The brows are similar to eyes, so I will just skip it. What I want to jump to now is understanding your model personalities. What I do for my models is I always first understand what personality I want them to have, then I trace out the expressions. Let's say I have Ganyu here from Genshin. I want her to have a gentle personality, so I give her an overall mild appearance to fit it. But for Kafka from HSR, I generally give her a more mature vibe, since she's known to be calm and elegant. And then there's Fu Xuan here from HSR. This one went pretty viral, and I'm proud of it. So yeah, again, I would say observe people more, look at different expressions, and ultimately understand the character you want to portray. Once you get this, I promise your characters in MMD will look way more vivid and lively. I've come to the end of my rough tutorial. I hope this would be helpful to you as an MMD guide. I really wanted to complete this faster, but it ended up being months late, so I do apologize to the viewer who requested it. I hope that this will still be relevant to you. Now, I wish I can blame it all on having work and family commitments for this one, but I won't lie to you, it's my first time making such a detailed video, so I hesitated a lot during progress because I was scared. Yes, I admit, I am a scared little but yeah, I pushed myself and finally managed to make this video. I really hope it's a good one. That is all for this video, and once again to all my viewers, thank you for appreciating my work. It means a lot to me. If you have anything you're unsure of, or maybe have good tips for me, do drop them in the comments. I would be happy to learn more. This is RedHeart. Have a good day, and peace out.